Welcome back to another edition of Between Two FARS. I'm Warnicke Miller here once again with our amazing Robert Tepfer, who is continuing to enlighten us on some really basic principles of contract interpretation. And it's really important to understand these foundational principles before you step out and try to look at the totality of the circumstances and figure out how all of these different principles apply to your contract interpretation issue. So today, we're going to go Latin on y'all and talk about Contra Proferentem. So Bob, what is Contra Proferentem?
Okay, Contra Proferentem is really, it's that the terms of the contract shall be construed against the drafter. And I've found that virtually every opposing counsel knows this principle, and it's the first place they go to. It is, in fact, the principle of last resort, okay? It is the other end of the spectrum. As we spoke in terms of patent ambiguity being a duty to inquire and a failure of the contractor to do that, to bring it to the government's attention when there's a patent ambiguity, they have to live with it. This is the other end of the spectrum, which says that it shall be construed against the drafter, which is always the government. And that's fine if you get to the end and use all these principles, but the fact of the matter is you do have these principles, and they even include extrinsic evidence, as we've gone into with regard to custom and practice, prior conduct, those kinds of things, and the equities. And in fact, the equities is the major theme throughout this. And that's why initially the patent ambiguity, who had the last clear chance? The Contra Proferentem, who drafted this? In other words, who created this mistake? Okay, it's fine if it's not a patent mistake, because then it's back over in the contractor's side. But as you can see, the principles are trying to find what the parties intended, what they agreed upon, and to the extent it's not ambiguous, not permit extrinsic evidence to create an ambiguity. That's kind of the themes you're dealing with here.
Okay, and with this one, if you wrote it, you have to live with it, right? And it's going to be construed against you if you're the one that's put pencil to paper, so to speak. That's
what you would think, but quite frankly, you got a lot of different steps to go to before you get to that. And it'd be amazed as it seldom shows up in reality.
Well, and that's what we're going to talk about in our next episode. We're going to wrap all of this up and talk about how you look at the totality of the circumstances to reach this equitable interpretation of your contract. So make sure you don't miss the next episode that concludes this exciting, riveting series on contract interpretation. See you next time on Between Two FARS.